Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be showing you guys our favorite spring fishing lures, and Cole's going to start us off with the jig.
Alright, so right here I have a football jig, and what you want to do basically with the jig is just let it sink down to the bottom, and you're going to watch your line. When it stops moving, that's when you know it's at the bottom. And then you're just going to want to jig your rod 1, 2, 3 times up, and then just let it sink. That's basically how you work it. But when you're fishing like dirty water, some colors, you're gonna need bright colors that'll stand out, like maybe some neons, but I like black and blue. It's not really a bright color, but it stands out in the water and it works really good for me. And then when you're fishing clear water, what you want to do is fish like more natural colors, like a green pumpkin, and that's basically what works for me.
Alright, I'm going to show you guys a little bit about the shaky head. What you want to do with the shaky head is it doesn't really matter what kind of worm you have on there. This basically is just going to give your bait a joint next to the head or the weight, and this just gives your bait that extra lifelike touch that I think the fish really like. And what you want to do, the same as Cole for the jig, you want to have more lifelike lures in the clear water, such as the green pumpkin or watermelon. And for the muddy water, you want to have more of a chartreuse or black and blue, like Cole said. And that's basically all for the shaky head.
Alright, so next we have the Senko. This is honestly one of my favorite baits of spring and summer and any time. But there's two ways to fish it. There's more than two ways, but I pretty much fish it two ways. One is wacky rig, so you're just going to hook it straight through the middle, and you're going to let it fall and twitch it so it goes like that. And then the second way is basically Texas rig it. I have it on a little rugby head, but you can just use a bullet weight and a normal hook.
Another bait we have here is the square bill. I like the square bill because it is a bait that can bounce off rocks and structures such as logs. And for this bait, I like to use it in the spring and pretty much any time because it just catches fish, and it's personally one of my favorite baits. But this comes in at the top 3 that I like. And what you want to do with this bait to choose colors, like we've been saying, basically what you want to do is pick the lure that would work for your area and your water. Basically what you want to do is choose a black or blue or more of a shad color for dark muddy water, and for clear, more visible water, you want to do something like the sexy shad or a shad or a crawdad, something like that. Because what this bait's going to do is it's going to bounce off the bottom and stir everything up, and the fish are going to notice that and strike it.
Alright, so I'm going to add on to the crankbait a little bit. That was a square bill, but you have the little rounded bill also, and that's not good for fishing rocks because that's going to get lodged in the rocks and it's going to get stuck and you're going to lose your lure pretty much. This is more for like open water. You can still fish it around structure, but it'll probably work best in like grass and maybe a little bit of weeds, but then the treble hooks are still going to get caught, but you just got to rip it through it. And then number 4 is a spinnerbait. I personally love spinnerbaits. I've caught some really big fish off them. They're basically for when like you see the bass jump in, like chasing a school with shad. And some colors that I like to use are basically like this clear color because it imitates a shad color, pretty much any bait fish. But these blades, they give off a lot of vibration. So like the gold blades, those are probably going to be good for like muddy water because it'll flash through it and it's going to give off a lot of vibration. But the silver ones are probably going to be good for clear water because it's not as flashy and it's not as like out of place. So that's just one of my favorite baits for the spring and summer.
Alright, and last but not least is the frog. For the frog baits, there are many different kinds of frogs that you can get. But I'm going to be showing you guys the popper frog, and I like to call it the walker frog because this bait is good for walking the frog. That's what it's called. And what you want to do with this bait is you want to throw it around weeds and just grassy areas. And what this will do in the spring is, what you want to do is cast it where you think a fish will be bedding, and it's just going to give you that top water strike, and it's just a lot of fun catching fish on top water. And this bait is a hollow body, which means when the fish bites it, it doesn't have to give off a lot of pressure to hook, because the bait is a lot more fragile to squeeze in. And second, the popper, as you can see, it has a little divot at the head, and what this causes the bait to do is when you cast it, you want to kind of jerk your rod forward, and what this will do is it'll pop the frog down to the water and kind of stir up the water. And this bait is just good for letting the fish know that there's potentially like a predator in the area, because frogs like to eat the babies of the fish, and bass will most likely come up and strike the bait out of like fear of getting their babies eaten. And that's basically all for the top 5 lures. Basically, just what you want to do is just get out and fish spring. Spring is obviously when the fish get fat, and they're just a lot easier to catch because they're more protective of their fry and their bed. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.